Hi, my name is Ruta, and this is Daniel, and we're sitting in our shuttle bus that we traveled in for the last 7 months. And here are the 5 things that went a little bit differently than we expected when we first started traveling. It's good.
That was perfect.
Yeah, Rich! Yeah! Okay.
So number 1, how often you're going to have to dump your pee jug.
Our pee-pee juggy.
We decided to go with a composting toilet on our bus, which we loved. It was a really great decision. However, the thing about composting toilets is it splits your solids and your liquids into 2 separate containers. So the liquid container is pretty small, and you don't really realize how often you go to the bathroom until you have to empty it. We had to empty it way more than we thought. We had to find some interesting locations sometimes to do it. It wasn't always super convenient.
Not proud, but...
Also, it was not at the best time of day that you maybe wanted to do it, but just that was something that always was a little bit of a pain in the ass. But it was okay in the end.
Don't let it overflow, because cleaning that off the floor is
You'll do it once, and then you'll never want to do it again.
We will make sure this never happens. Number 2 is how often you'll actually be parked in parking lots. Daniel and I both work remotely, which means that we need internet at like the most random times of the day, which really prevented us from being as off-grid as we really wanted to a lot of the times. So unless you get a Starlink or something like that where you're investing thousands of dollars, you might be parking in parking lots a lot more often than you actually think that you're going to.
So number 3, the roads in the United States are terrible. As you drive across the country, you're going to see some fantastic places. However, you're going to see a lot of places that are a whole lot of nothing, and you're going to also realize that the roads are awful everywhere. There are many places on the interstates, in cities, in side roads, that the roads are just absolutely trash.
Bad.
We ended up getting stuck on the side of the road in Colorado because we hit a ginormous pothole that ended up messing up our air ride system. We hit numerous potholes that I thought were going to give us issues. We blew a tire in Oklahoma because we hit some bad stuff on the roads. We actually ended up not driving at night because you can't see potholes as easily at night, and they are just, you'll know when you hit a lot of them, and there's a stretch of road that's really shitty. So overall, the roads suck. Don't let it ruin your journey, but just be careful.
Number four, my life. Number 4 is going to be the decision fatigue that comes along with traveling long term. On a day-to-day basis, you're making about 1 million decisions. Where to park, where to get water, will I get towed, where do I get groceries? Do we have enough power? Oh my God, do we need to plug in? Oh my God, do we need a mechanic?
Do we have cell service?
Yeah, how many people are we calling to see if we can get XYZ fixed? So we did it for 7 months, and by the 7 months, we were like, we want to stare at a wall for like months and not do anything. So it's a real thing that happens to van lifers. So if you definitely plan on doing this, maybe do it for a longer period of time so you can stay in more places for like 2 weeks, because otherwise you're going to be really burnt out by the time that you're done.
And number 5, how often you're going to go to the grocery store. So obviously you only have a certain amount of space in this bus, and our fridge is actually pretty big. However, you're going to have to go to the grocery store a lot. No matter how much you plan in advance, no matter how often you end up going, you're only going to be able to store so much food inside of the fridge. Obviously, you don't really have room for a freezer unless you want to do that in your bus. So you're just going to have to, and if you like to cook as much as we do and have fresh food to be able to make stuff and go to organic places or Whole Foods or whatever it may be, you're going to have to really plan in advance. And when you go, you can only go like, every couple of days because you only have enough space for that much groceries. So just be prepared to have to go to the grocery store way more than you're expecting. Plan in advance on which grocery stores you're going to go to and how you're going to get there, and make sure that you have enough food for however much longer until you go to the next grocery store.
And here is one extra thing that we also did not expect when we started traveling is how many parks you need permits for. There were kind of a good amount of places where we kind of couldn't go because you needed a permit and you can't get the permit like the next day. So you really kind of have to plan out where you're going at what time of year and pre-plan to get your permit so you can actually enter the parks.
We had a national park pass too, which came in clutch a lot, but sometimes they don't cover a lot of the parks that we went to. So just make sure that you do your research on where you're going ahead of time and make sure that you don't need
shit early.
Yeah, make sure you don't need anything extra. And these were the 5 things that went a little bit differently than we might have expected.